Okay, hello everyone, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is in the world you're watching from. Hi, let's see who's there. So we're live. I would like to welcome everyone to Early Years Heartland webinar. Today we're going to be talking about settling in for preschoolers. I'm just going to hold on to see uh, a few people come on in. So as you come on board, please tell us your name, tell us where you're watching us from. We'll be very happy to have you here. Welcome, 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 welcome to this show. Okay, so as you come on board, I can see we're joined here by about 3 people. So please, 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 please tell us where you're watching us from. Tell us. Oh, we have Kanchana is here. Hi, Kanchana. Yay! Great to have you here. So we are live, and today we're going to be talking about helping young children settle in preschool, helping our preschoolers settle in, helping our toddlers, helping our infants, just helping young children generally settle in. It's a period of their lives where it's burdened by uncertainty, lots of uncertainties. And so it's now even more that we're coming back from the era of COVID and lockdown, and lots and lots of children have been at home, not engaged in formal preschool. So it's really, really expedient. I mean, it's really, really important that we talk about this point and see how we can support ourselves as teachers and out there as parents to go through this period of transition with their children in such a way that they have a settling in process. So welcome once again to this show. I hope that as you join us, please tell us your name, tell us where you're watching us from, tell us what you do, and just generally introduce yourself. We're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Great. So we have Sandra here with us. We have Imo. Welcome, welcome again. All right, so I'm just going to go straight to it because we have a lot to talk about. And I'm very sure that out there, our parents and teachers and generally anyone who has young children to care for has questions to ask. And so I hope that we can answer all the questions today. All right, I'm going to go ahead to bring on our guests, to bring on our speakers. They are loaded and they have prepared very well for you. So I would want right now to bring up our first guest. Her name is Miss Sophia. Well, I call her Miss Sophia. Hi, Miss Sophia. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna say a little bit about Sophia. Sophia has a bachelor's degree in engineering. Maybe some other time she's gonna give us a story about what she's doing in the early years. Really, I would really want to hear that story. But I know that she has a degree in engineering with a specialization in environmental engineering. However, she felt that working with the early years or working with young children at this point in time in her life is just the best. She's following her passion for early learning, and she has the goal. One of her major goals is to enrich young minds through play and mindful experiences. She believes very much in making sure that children have a safe environment where they can thrive and grow in. So welcome once again, Sophia. We're really happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
All right. So we have your people cheering for you. We have Sandra. She says she's here for her sister Sophia. Hi, Sandra. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, Sandra.
Let's have our next speaker. Miss, Hina. Hi, Hina. Nice to see you here. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. So, Hina, maybe as we go on, you're going to tell us a little bit more about yourself. But I think I am just going to say a little bit about what I know about you and how we've worked together. Hina is a clinical psychologist, and she also works with children. So she does child therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy. So get your questions written down, because Hina is here to tell you all the things you can do to get your children, ready behaviorally for settling in. She conducts therapy sessions on for improving child psychology and social phobia. What more do we want here today? Because settling in is a period where children are going to go out there, they're going to socialize. Hina has the secrets, she has all the strategies up her sleeves, and she's going to open them up to us today to see how we can work with our children to overcome that social phobia. So once again, you are welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So do you want to say anything first about the topic? What do you think? What strikes you very importantly about this topic? So first, I'm going to go to Miss Sophia, and then I'll go to Hina. What exactly is, when you think of the word settling in, what first comes to your mind? When you think, oh, I'm sorry. I just got a message here. Someone says I've forgotten to introduce myself. All right. So my name is Ifyok Ikiagu, as you can see, and I am an early childhood educator. I've worked with children for quite a while, and I felt that at this time in my career and in my life, I think it's nice to come out there and share tips and strategies and experiences that I have learned over the years. And of course, not just me alone, with leading experts in the field like Sophia and Hina that we have here today. So that's me in a nutshell. And we'll leave it at that for another day. So welcome once again. Please, as you join us, tell us your name and tell us where you're joining us from. So we have people, Sophia is in the UAE, and Hina also is in the UAE, but we have people join us from all parts of the world. So please tell us where you're joining us from, and we'll be very happy to welcome you on board. Okay, now let's go back to the topic. When we think about the topic, settling in for preschoolers, what exactly comes to mind? What is settling in? Or what should settling in look like, or look like to you, maybe for parents and for teachers? Sophia, maybe we could start with you right there.
Okay. Settling in is actually the time it takes a child to familiarize with a nursery setting, to familiarize with the staff in a nursery setting, the classroom routines, the classroom activities, and also the time it takes for a child to familiarize themselves with the children in the classroom. It's a time when, for parents, when they know that the child leaves them happily or joyfully without little or no tears. And for teachers, settling in is that time when a child blossoms, when a child comes out of their shell, when they start communicating with the teacher, when they participate in classroom activities. And it's also a time when you as a teacher feel this ease and relaxation in your classroom, when everyone is like at peace and calm in the classroom. That is what the whole settling in process entails.
Yes, one of the things you've said is it's leaving a child at ease, okay, and ensuring that the child has little or no tears. Hina, I'm gonna go over to you. What is your whole idea about settling in? Coming from, from your background, what's your whole idea of settling in for preschoolers?
I told you, she is totally right. Yeah. So she's right that in the settling in process, is something very important for the child, parents, and teacher as well, because all of these people are connected.
Yeah.
So for the child, it's very important to the child can uh, easily go with the flow in the classroom, and it's also good for the teacher if if he or she can handled easily by the teacher in the classroom. So yeah, but if we are talking about the settling in process, the as you told me, like that we call a separation anxiety disorder, but
Mm-hmm.
the separation anxiety is something very common in the the small children's. So this is something it's a natural process, because for the small child it's a natural thing. They can't the the leaving process is very much difficult for them, because they were very small. So at times most of the child felt that there is a lot of things that they can't handle, and sometimes the children to become extremely upset when when they're separated from the parents or caregivers. So this is something very important, that you have to be more you have to be more, give more importance and give more attention to that child that who is suffering from this thing. So
Yeah.
in the settling in process, so you have to be take care of the multiple things, that you have to be notice multiple things when you are in the process of settling in the classroom, or maybe it's a friend's home, or maybe it's the child care center. So like for everyone, if you are leaving your child in a new setting like a preschool or a friend's house, a child care center, so you have to spend time at the new place with your child, and be comfortable with him. So this is something very important, and same goes with the teacher as well, that
Yeah.
you have the teacher has also that great responsibility. So yeah, you have to do all of
Okay.
these things.
Wow, that's in fact, I think you just ended up summarizing the yeah, but we're going to go into it in detail. No, really, you said some very valid points, and one of the things you talked about was settling in is in multiple phases, and
Yeah,
so because
exactly.
of that, everybody's hands need to be on board to ensure that the settling in process goes very smoothly. Now let's bring
Yeah.
this down. Let's bring it down. To basics. So when we look at settling in, for example, Sophia, please, I'm going to address this to you. So what would you say is the starting point for settling in, that process of settling in for preschoolers? What or where would you say is the starting point for parents? Let's look at it from the angle of parents first, and then we'll move over to teachers. What's the first thing that parents should do, or what's the first thing that teachers should do to prepare their preschoolers for settling in?
Okay, for parents, it's actually in two ways. So parents need to do work at the nursery and work at home. So for the nursery, I always suggest that parents have an expectation of what they want for their children. You should know the type of nursery you want for your child, the approach, the nursery practices, the staff ratio. You want to know all this prior to even registering your child into a nursery.
That's
So
right.
you should go visit the nursery, ask questions, check the environment. Is it a place where you feel your child will feel comfortable? Is it a place where the staff culture is positive and cheerful, friendly? You need to check this also. You also need to know the teacher before you even register the child. You need to ask, which class will my child be and who is the teacher? Have a word with the teacher and know who the teacher is. Have conversation, have like quick chat and try to know, okay, this teacher sounds great. I think I like my child to be with this teacher. And then when you've settled the whole registration process, you feel, okay, this is the school, this is the approach I love for my child. It could be Montessori, it could be Reggio, whatever you feel, okay, this is the standard I want for my child. Then the phase two for the parent is to do their homework.
Yeah.
Now you need to spend time with your child prior to resumption. You need to have a word with your child. You need to build routines for your child. You would not want to take a child to the nursery who didn't get enough sleep or who didn't get breakfast. You would not want to drop a child at the nursery like that. So you need to do your work at home, set wonderful routines that will help your child go into nursery fully rested and healthy breakfast. Also have a prep talk. Talk with your child. Discuss the expectations and tell your child what happens in the nursery. Talk about the activities the child will do. Share the experience you had with the teacher with your child. You can also have role plays, read books, get some books that talk about school, and have your child share their feelings. Sometimes we feel, okay, my child is ready for school, but children, even though they're young, they have their choice, they have their they can make their own decision. They can tell you exactly how they feel. They can even tell you, you know what, mom, I don't want to go to school now. I want to go to my friend's school, or I want to start school next month, or I don't want to start at all. So you need to do your homework at home, have one-to-one discussion with the child, talk to your child, ask questions. And also I find this tip of parents going through the social media of that school. You can check the Instagram page or the Facebook page or whatever handle the school uses. Go through the photographs of children carrying out fun activities that you think your child would like, and try to find out, how do you feel? What do you think this child is doing? How do you think this child is feeling? Is he happy? Is he sad? If you see the feedback from your child is positive, that's giving you a signal that yes, my child may be ready to go into school. This may the child may still cry or may not cry, but for you as a parent, you need to be sure that you have cleared out the way and have this open conversation with your child. You don't need to be afraid, or maybe the child will be tensed, or you don't need to be afraid about that. A child, settling in takes different time frame for different children. It may take one day for some children, it may take 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, sometimes even 3 months. you know you never can tell, but for you as a parent, you do your own part, you do your own job. That way you make it very easy for the teacher who's going to be with your child. So I think when this balance is there, it prepares, like a smooth path from home down to school.
Wow, okay. Thank you very much. You said a lot there, and I'm just because I was just writing down as you were speaking, and you really talked or focused on the parents as to what can be done. And one of the things you said there was building routines and how these routines help children settle. You also talked about prep talk. Now, when you spoke about prep talk, something came to mind that I will maybe probably give at the end of at the summary. But I'm going to let Ms. Hina speak a little bit on what it is from your perspective that parents can do, and also what teachers can do in the classroom. I think I'd like you to focus on the parents, because I think you deal more with parents and working with their children. What they
Yeah.
can do, what few things can they do to get the children? What's one of the first things that they need to focus on to get children ready for preschool?
Basically, the process start with the, before going to preschool or nursery, you have to know your children very well. So this is something very important, that you should know about your child's, the needs and the way he's, in the home and in the school. So first of all, you have to look at her, or his need. Like if he's a cranky boy, he's an angry one, or he's the sweet one, or the kids show a lot of emotions and tantrums at home, and
Mm,
in the school maybe this is very difficult for them to settle in this is this transition is something very much disturbing for them as well. So I think this is the parents should have do this thing, that in the new setting they have spent some time in the new place with their child before the like the very few minutes, or maybe the some minutes, or the half an hour or something like that. And maybe they have to tell their children about the nursery or preschool. Before going to school, they have to make up their mind, as Sophia told you. Like, yeah, she's totally right in this thing, that we have to make up their minds, that you have to go to the school, and from some videos, show them some videos, some pictures, some storybooks, make us some stories, and that can ease the process. This is the process that can help your child to able to handle his own self in the school. So this is the thing that I think this is something very important. And for the parents, obviously this is something very important, because parents were also through a tough time if they saw their kids, like their childs are crying, or they're not
yeah.
settling in, and if they saw any problems and their hesitations, so they become they become also a very much disturbed, and they become
Yeah.
disturbed, and they're not doing well, because they can't see their child as well in this situation. So for
Yeah.
them, that there's then for the parents, I can say it like that for the new places, they have to go before the that time, and let your child take something from the home. Like if you thought that the child are not comfortable in the new environment, then they can take any toy, something like whatever they want, or whatever they like at
Yeah.
home. And their comfort, what we can say, that some kids have their comfort zone in the
The
home.
comfort toys. Yeah.
Yeah. So the comfort zone is very important, and they don't want anyone interrupt in that comfort zone. They don't want anyone. So this is the basic issue. When kids when child saw that their comfort zone is gone, so that's going to be very difficult for the parents and us as well. So yeah, so I think the parents should have noticed their comfort zone, and they should have idea about this thing, that what is comforting for them and what's not. And according to their comfort zone and according to their nature, they have to step up, because almost 80% kids have their comfort zone at home. So they don't want them to disturb, or they don't want that comfort zone to going like that. So yeah, this is something very important. So you have to take care of all of these things. And as well as it- this is something like parents should have talked to their kids. You need to spend almost half an hour, maybe 1 hour or half an hour. Like you have to spend the family time, the good family time.
Yeah.
I think in the parents, talk to their kids, and they spend some good, healthy time, so they can develop a good relationship. This is something
Absolutely.
very important for the child and the parents. So they can make a strong bonding.
Okay.
So yeah, so with this bonding and all of these things, all of these things can help to the child to move on in the life and move forward.
Okay. Wow, thank you very much. You've said a number of very important points there. One of the things you said is, I think that's common to what both of you have said is everything we do as parents should practically start before the child has to go to preschool. And one of the things Sophia talked about was prep talk, preparing your child, telling your child, explaining the process of what's going to happen so you drive that child's expectation. And Hina, you just mentioned here, understanding your child, looking at what your child's need is, because children are different, right? They have different emotional needs. So you've talked about understanding the emotional need of your child so that, and then as an adult, being able to manage your emotions. That's what you said, right? So be able to manage yourself and keep yourself in check. That way you can actually help your child. And one of the things I'm going to say is children feed off our emotions, right? So when you're able to be in check of your own emotions, then you're in a better place to handle your child. And one of the last things you said was having comfort toys, something that gives them that sense of security and calm. Um, I think I'm going to ask, we have a question here, but I think we'll take the questions at the end. One of the things I find that's very important is having a comfort toy. And I've had that experience very recently. It can be anything, it can be a toy, it can be a picture of the mother, of the father, or something. So why don't you draw more light on practical steps that teachers can take? Sophia, I'm gonna ask you that. What are some of the practical steps that teachers can take in the classroom at drop off when the heat is on? What can what can teachers do at that point? We find the parents have done what they can do at home and they've brought the child to school. What can teachers do then?
Okay. I, for myself as a practitioner, I usually follow like a step. It's a gradual step. I don't just rush into the whole process. I take it like step by step. And the first thing I do is collaborate with the admin. I want to know the parents. I want to get their contact. I want to talk with them before they even come into school. I want to know about the child. I want to talk about myself. I tell them about myself. I introduce myself. I call the child by name, even though I haven't met the child before. I said, "How is this? How is she? What can you tell me what she likes?" So things like that get even the parents excited to meet me. I'm like, "So, how is she doing? How's he doing?" And then I schedule a time when they can take a tour around the nursery. And then I give them like 10 to 15 minutes to move around, just the child, the parents, and myself. I don't just put them straight into the classroom. I give them time to move around. And when they come in, there is a form um, I suggest teachers should have. It's called like the All About Me form. With this form, you want to gather information about the child. You want to know their likes, their dislikes, who their favorite thing, their favorite person, and things like that. So this form kind of help you to know. It helps you to know more about the child. Then the next thing I do is to invite, like give them the time for the actual school visit now with the children in the classroom. And due to the pandemic now, the parents are not allowed to spend, as much time as they used to before. So it seems like, okay, it's more challenging for the parents and also for teachers. But what I usually do is I give the parent a time slot when the child, I don't allow so many children all coming same time and crying same time. I give like time slot for each child to come in. And I give like say 30 minutes interval. So before 30 minutes, I've settled one child, at least the child is calm, I've given maybe a toy or something, and then the next child walks in. So you get like full undivided attention for like 30 minutes before another child walks into the classroom. And also, like Miss Hina said, Hina, the comforters work wonders. It helps a child to feel relaxed in the nursery. It's like, this is my home here in this space, so I'm going to hold on to this. So I usually do encourage the parents to give them something, a teddy. There's this one now, the children like the puppet. I don't know what's with this. I don't know what's with this
Oh
puppet, but
my goodness. I
I don't
know.
know, but it's like, I need my puppet. I say,
Uh-huh.
okay, bring the puppet, bring the big one, bring the small
Yeah.
one, just bring something for the child, and then I ask for for breakfast for the child. And also, I also put into consideration the classroom, the setup. From experience, I've observed that a cluttered classroom, not cluttered as per maybe messy or so many things there, but
Furniture.
color, yeah, like pictures and
Yeah.
displays and red here, orange here, pink, rainbow. It doesn't do us any good as teachers, because when the child walks into class, the child is already like, I want to run away
Stimulated.
from this place. And then you open your classroom to rainbow. It's like, no way, I'm not doing this. So from experience, I've observed that it's actually very good to have a calm classroom, a classroom that resembles the home effect. You can put in your life plants, you can put natural things. You can have, even if you can get a picture of the child before they walk into the classroom, it's another deal breaker for teachers. You can have the picture of a child, you can have flower pots, you can have, lovely toys, and also have activities set out
Yeah.
at different areas in the classroom. Wonderful activities, have sensory activities. You can have play-doh, you can have water play, you can have just little things that, if the child doesn't pick interest on one, the child can move into something else. You can easily distract the child's focus, and the child will be like, you know what, look at this, look at that. Conversate with the child and reason with the child. The child has every right to be upset. The child has every right to cry, like scream out of the rooftop, like, what is the meaning of this?
Yeah.
You just dumped me
Yeah.
here, mom. So the child has every right. And from my experience, what I do is I said, yes, you have every reason to cry. I understand, I speak with the child, and the child is like, who is this? Who is this talking to me? I'm like, I know,
Yeah.
mommy needs to go now. You just need to spend, just say 30 minutes or 1 hour with me only. I bring myself down to the child's level, and we talk, and we reach a compromise. I say, you know what? If you were able to do like this, like this, like this, I'll call you mom, and mom will be so happy. I'll take a photograph of you and I'll send to mom, and they'll be like, I think this one is on my side. And it gets them, to feel comfortable in the classroom, and it gets them really relaxed. And also the tone, when you have so many children crying, especially for the first timers, the first time teachers, it can be overwhelming. It's like,
Yeah.
what do I do? And the children, they feed off of, that feeling, that emotions. They see. And there are some teachers who cry. They cry also, like, how can they call the admin, I cannot do this. So the children,
Yeah.
they are depending on us, and we need at that time to be calm, to be confident, to show that it's okay, you all can cry, I'm still here, I'm the mature one, I can take everything. So when they see you're very calm, when they see you're confident, it begins to reflect on the children as well. And you see they cry, but then they calm, they're relaxed, and they're like, okay, what's going on? So I find that that worked a lot for me in my classroom. And another thing I observe that teachers do find themselves wrapped up in is the schedule. Now we have
Yeah.
children settling in. How can I do my circle time? How can I do the gym time? How can I take the I cannot. Be flexible, relax.
Yeah.
You don't have to do everything
Everything. Yeah.
for the first 2 3 weeks or even 1 month. It's
Yeah.
okay. You can do just one or two activities. Just focus on their interest. You look at this one. Okay, he likes Play-Doh. Okay, she likes water play. Just focus on that and use their interest to plan activities
Yes.
for them. Don't beat yourself up too much because they're not participating your circle time. Maybe in 1 week you have just one circle time. It's fine. You are doing exactly what you're supposed to do at that time, which is giving attention to the
The
children
children.
at that time. And also implementing the key person system. As teachers, share responsibility with your teaching assistant. Um, don't take all the children to yourself. You want to suit this one, you want to make this one come sit here, all the children. Share responsibility. Check the child and say, okay, this child is very strong. This child will do well with my teaching assistant. This child will do well with me. Share the responsibility and take the weight off you. You can say, okay, 4 children to me, 4 children to you. Settle this child, I will settle this child. And remember to give feedback. Give feedbacks to the parents. You're already very tense, you're already very anxious. They need feedback. They need to
Feedback.
hear like what's going on, what's going on. So you can do this with pictures, send pictures as often as you can. Breakfast, they're in, okay, they're eating, they're dancing. Just do this. Yes, it may be like, how can I do this? But you're helping someone at the other side. You're making a
Oh,
mom
wow.
like, oh, I'm happy, I can go out now. Okay, I can eat now. Okay, everything is fine. So make yourself available for phone calls anytime during the day. Give feedback and say, don't worry, he did very well. Little cry and be honest. Be honest. It's okay for the children to cry. Don't say, oh,
Right.
everything went well, good. No, be honest. They cried so much today, I need to come pick him up now. Yeah, only 15 minutes? Yeah, only 15 minutes. Because you
Yeah.
want that child to have positive memory, positive experience. You don't want to tamper with this. Let it be from the other end, but not from you. Make it honest, do your best, seek a partnership with the parents from admin, get everybody to work together and build build relationship with these parents. Talk
Okay.
with them. Yeah, talk
Okay.
with them, try to know who they are, have meaningful conversations with the parents and familiarize with the settling in policy of your nursery. Read those policies. Try to understand what you as a teacher in that nursery, because nurseries differ. So know what you are supposed to do at
To
your
do.
nursery. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. In fact, I feel like just giving a round of applause because honestly, that is very expansive. Really, everything you have said is a lot. And so if you're out there, you're a teacher, I hope you're taking notes, or I hope as a parent you're taking notes because you can also fill your child's teacher in. Or you have friends that are out there and they have that they should be here. One thing you can do right now is to send this link to them and have them join us immediately because there's just so much value here. You've said a lot. You've talked about sensory stimulation, overstimulation. You've talked about validating children's feelings. All of this done after the child has been taken away from the parents. You talked about priorities and sharing responsibilities. That's a lot. That's going to bring me to the next question. After all has been said and done by parents, by teachers, there still are some children who will not settle in, or who do not settle in as we expect, right? So from experience, um, we have children who come and they cry the whole time. We have children who come and they show different expressions. Some don't even cry. Some are just there. They just sit and probably develop other challenges. One of the very common challenges I have seen in my practice, and this happens probably almost every year, is the issue of selective mutism, and I would like Miss Hina to throw more light on this kind of behaviors. After all has been said and done, what do we do to children who still do not settle in? I have a question here, and I think I'm just going to go. It's the same question, so I'm just going to put up the question here. We have Sandra Ezeji. Hi, Sandra. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for this question, because this was just the next thing on my mind. What if, no matter what you do to make a child settle in, they still do not settle in? What happens then? What do you do? So, Miss Hina, would you want to take that forward? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you.
Hello?
Okay, yeah, we can hear you now.
So, yeah, so first of all, you have to notice the time period that the symptom have to show up most of the time for, for at least for the weeks, or maybe the time limit is very much important, because now she asked a question about that. So, whatever she's telling, whatever she's asking about, this is something we call anxiety disorders. Some kids have that, and they can't control this thing because it's a issue. So when you saw that your child become extremely upset, and he can't afford your separation, or he can't afford anything, and you can't settle in the classroom, and so you have to notice the some different types of behaviors, like if like you just told us, like that muted kind of a kid, or maybe sometimes the child become more aggressive, sometimes they become throwing things, and sometimes they become just crying and crying. And basically the symptoms of all of these things are including, like problems saying goodbye, fear of something bad will happen, and some kids throw some tantrums. So first of all, you have to notice all of these points. Okay, like what type of tantrums they are throwing. Like sometimes they must be aggressive, sometimes they must be crying, sometimes they just show that they don't want to stay in the classroom, or sometimes just they muted, or maybe a lot of screaming and throwing things. So there is a lot of behaviors that they can throw in the classroom, and they can just show to the parents and show to the teacher. So first of all, everyone should know these behaviors, that the specific behaviors, that what they, at times, the child will go to the school and they just start tantrums while entering the school. Before entering the school, the child must be fine, and he's totally okay, and he was happy, but entering the school and they just throwing tantrums and the stuff. So you have to notice all of these symptoms. And in some cases there are some child talking about the nightmares, that they can just nightmare about that bad thing happening or something like that. Some child suffering from the physical situations, like stomach headaches and dizziness, and maybe they will tell you that they have a stomach ache, and there's a lot of things they can tell you. And at times they're refusing to go to school, or they don't want to go to the play dates, or they don't want to go to the so there is a lot of symptoms. All of these symptoms, you should have know about all of these symptoms, and you should have know about your child's, I told you previously, like the needs and the situation. So you must know that what he want and why he is not able to understand, and why he is not able, why he is not able to understand the situation, and what are the triggering points. This is something very important, like for parents and for teacher, that what are the triggering points that trigger the child and he become like this. So in the settling in process, you have to know, first of all, you have to know all of these things and the specific behavior patterns. You have to know the behavior patterns of the kids. So maybe you will come to know a lot of other things that you never you never saw before, or maybe you never give a thought about this thing because you never saw all of these things. And sometimes parents just thought that it's just parents take it a very lightly or easily, that this is something very easy, like they don't focus on this thing, and it's gonna become the disorder. So first of all, like Sandra told us, so she needs to, I think she also needs to know the triggering points, like why he's throwing this behavior, and what is going on. Basically, the root cause of the behavior. So you have to know the root cause of the behavior. So after that, what we can do is, like, now I'm just telling you about the something that you have to do with the kids, with all of these symptoms and the stuff. So for the parents, uh, I think parents should know this thing, that if their kids are showing all of these symptoms and all of these, the situation, if they're suffering from this situation, so first of all, they have to spend a good time with their kids, and they have to spend good time at the new place with your kids. And the second thing is that if you can, you have that, so you can let your child take something from home, and you can this is a comforting thing for them. So gently encourage your child to separate from you by giving her or his practice. The practice meaning
Yeah.
here is like you have to practice this thing at home, at school, everywhere. Like if you are going outside, you have to tell your child, like, we are going to do this, and this is something very important. And you have to be, it's important to give positive experience of separation. And it's not about separation,
Hmm.
like any positive experience to the situation. This is very important. This is not about the only preschoolers or something like that. This is if you're going outside for the in the play area or everywhere. So you have to focus on this thing, that you have to do, and you have to give positive experience to your children. So with everyone, with every situation, and you have to mold the situation in the positive way, that the child can get this idea. So, and when you are leaving and tell your child that you are leaving, so you have to be, tell them that you are leaving and you will be back. So you need to
Hmm.
tell them, don't. Most of the parents, what can they do is like, okay, they could just go away, and they just they just doesn't give that thought that what they are doing, after they're
Yeah.
going. So I think this is very wrong. So parents have to do this, that you have to tell to your children that we are leaving, and we will be back, you know and tell them the time. And
Mm-hmm.
sneaking out with sneaking out without saying goodbye things, worse. So if parents become sneak out, so this is something very much difficult for the
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
So don't sneak out. So these are the specific and very important points that you have to be focused on. And
Mm.
the most important thing is settle your child in an enjoyable activity before you leave. Okay, if you saw that your child is not comfortable in the classroom, and it will take too much time, and it's been 4 or 5 weeks, and he's not going to be more comfortable in the classroom, and he's showing tantrum going to school. So yeah, what you have to do is you can for settle your child in an enjoyable activity before you leave. I can say it like, you can just collaborate with the teacher, and you can do any activity which the child will involve in it with the teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and you can easily come from the school and go out. So you have to do a lot of stuff. Like you can talk to the teacher and you can just make him relax, make him ease, and after then you can just take the small steps. This is very important. And one and very common thing that I think most of the parents did this thing, that they're not behaving calm and relaxed. Like keep relaxed and happy look on your face. This is very important when you are leaving or when you are going to school or maybe settling in the child in the school. So you must have the child will get that vibes from the teacher and the
Yeah.
parents, everyone. So you have to be if you can't, you have to just pretend like this that you are very happy. But because then they see your face, and if they saw that you are also worried, so they create more they throw
Yeah.
more
More
tantrum.
anxious. Yes.
Yeah. So they become more conscious, and you will become also conscious. So there's a lot of things. So what you have to do is like keep relaxed and
Mhm.
happy. Look at your face, like okay, that's fine. Nothing going to be happen. So I'm here for you, and parents have to practice all of these things. And you know what? In I think maybe in 1 week or 2 weeks, your kid can understand this thing.
Yeah.
So this is going to be, yeah. So
It,
basically, this is very important for parents that they have to practice all of these things. Then you will get the results.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is a lot. It's a lot to practice. I remember having to take my little one to nursery, and honestly, I would cry. At some
Yeah.
point I would cry, but of course not in front of her. But I still remember stepping back and just shedding a tear in my car or just when I step away. And there's something I've noticed, in practice. Uh, some parents would do. They'll linger around. That's
Ah,
that does not help. So that brings me to a question I saw earlier. We have we have a Mr. Chinedumi here. He's asking, that's my husband, by the way. He says a very interesting conversation. And this is very important because right now I'm actually in the process of settling my child and I think having a toddler and working around settling in, what should parents and teachers not do during settling in? So we've talked about everything that parents can do and everything that teachers can do. And I just mentioned here, I just talked about not lingering, not staying around to pop in. And if by mistake your child sees you, that's the end of the day. Normally, I would just tell the parents, please, I don't see how we're going to make a headway from now. And I think it's better you just take the child and come back the following day, come back the following day. However, there are so many things that we do that we should not do as teachers. There are so many things that we do as parents that we should not do to support our children to settle in properly. So, what, Miss Sophia, if you would take that of the teachers, and Miss Hina can talk about settling children in, what parents should not do during settling in. So you can go. Okay, Miss I don't know, Hina or Sophia, you want to go first? The ball is in your court. Okay, Sophia, you go ahead.
Okay, I think I mentioned this earlier. For teachers, don't just relax. That's
Yeah.
that's just the key word I would say. You cannot have everything under control at that
Mm-hmm.
time. Your schedule is going to be upside down. Your activities, those beautiful activities you may never carry out, but it's okay. And don't let the child feed off of your worries or your fear,
Mm,
and do not keep the parents in the dark. You
yeah.
need to keep them updated, you need to inform them. um, don't also get all the children to come in same time. That will be overwhelming even for an experienced practitioner. You need to give settling in a day. You need to say, okay, come in, stay for 1 hour. 1 hour, 30 minutes, and maybe 2 hours, but try to, space it out for the
Mm-hmm.
children. That way, even you will be able to give yourself, to these children. You're relaxed and calm in your handling the children. Do just take a cup of coffee in the morning and tell yourself it's going to be okay. Just relax. That's what the practitioner should do. Do not be afraid, because when you get worried or get overwhelmed, it's going to affect the day.
Wow. Okay, so let's see what the parents can do now. I'm going to hand it over to Hina. Take it over.
So basically, I am just saying the one thing for from the parents' end, like no matter how frustrated you feel, avoid criticizing or being negative
Hmm.
about your child's difficulty, difficult situation or maybe difficulty separation. Sometimes parents, what parents can do is like, okay, he's just like a mommy's boy and he's doing this and that, and why are you behaving in this that way? So no, please don't do this. You have to understand the situation. So if you can, at times parents, obviously everyone we all are a human being and we must be frustrated at times. So uh, this type of frustration is very much bad for the kids. This frustration give the negative impact on the mind. So I think you shouldn't have to criticize your kids. And also for the teachers, don't criticize, or maybe don't just uh, uh, like what, can't do this to the child. Like don't be focus of attention. Don't do this. Like for
Yeah.
if you don't do this, that oh he's crying or something like that, why are you crying in this and that. So you have to know the uh, different activities that you can engage the child, and you can just engage him with the different activities, instead of saying a lot of criticism or saying a lot of things that we can say sometime, and we doesn't realize this thing. So I think
Okay.
we shouldn't do this thing. Yeah.
All right. Very important points that we have mentioned here. We have another question, and it's a very interesting one. We have one from Mr. Ojik Ike. Ojik Ike. Oh, okay. I think I see that we have the backing of our families today, and honestly, it's very important that they're here. I think we should also speak to the fathers out there, the mothers particularly. What is there any particular role that parents together, both parents in the family, we could talk about single parents, or we could talk about where there are two parents in the family. What one thing can they do? What's the most important thing for both of them? But before we get to that, what's the time frame for children to settle in school? What's the time? Is there any time frame? And what do we advise if a child exceeds that time frame? So I think we'll take it individually, and I think each of us should speak on this issue. Is there a time frame? Miss Hina, do you want to go ahead, please?
Yeah. Yeah. So time frame is like some kids are they can adjust in a one day. Some kid will take maybe 2 days, 3 days. So it depends on the child to child. So it's very. But if you saw all of these symptoms, like the time for at least 4 weeks or maybe more than that, that means there is a problem. There is an issue. So I think the time frame is like I think 4 to 5 days are enough. Honestly speaking, that some kids will never take that much time, but the four
Mm-hmm.
5 days, maybe 1 week is enough for to that is the time frame is for 1 week is 1 week time frame is okay for settle in the school. So that's not an issue. But if you saw that the time limit exceed from 4 weeks or maybe more than 4 weeks, that
Mm-hmm.
means there are a lot of issues and you have to consult with
Yeah.
someone, or maybe just then you have to visit that professional healthcare.
Yeah.
Professional, you have to
Okay.
take that because that is something
Yeah.
very important, because 4 weeks are long time. So 1 week, I think
Mm-hmm.
for me, 5 days or 1 week the child can settling in the school. That's
Settling in.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Sophia, you want to contribute to that?
Yeah. I think Hina has said a lot already. Settling in has no time frame per se, but you can only check for problems when it exceeds a certain time. So you can have a child just walk into class. I have a child who walked into class and he just turned and gave the mom a high five and said, "I'll see you later." And he never
Ooh.
cried. He never cried for one day. He never cried. And then I still have some children who, for like 2 weeks, mama, mama, mama. So it depends, you know. Factors that can affect settling in can be maybe a child who's had social interactions all his life, or a child who's always going out and has been to a nursery before that nursery. So many factors can affect. And there is something also we should also consider, that there are times when a child settles in, say like 2 or 3 days, the child is settled. And then after a while, it's like we're going back again. Like there is a circle. And there are a lot of factors that can affect settling in for children, that can make it, kind of longer than it should. Maybe illness can affect, irregularities in attendance can affect settling in. A birth of a child can affect. You can
Yeah.
see a child who's already settling in, and then the next minute the child is crying. You can't even do anything. Maybe something happened at home. Maybe daddy traveled or mommy traveled, or something. A lot of factors can actually make the time frame, longer than it should be. And as Hina mentioned, when it's longer than necessary, when you have done all that you should do as a parent or as a practitioner, and the child is still having issues settling in, maybe as a result of anxiety, then you should definitely see a professional for that.
Wow, thank you very much. I think for me, when it comes to the time frame, you've both said it. No two children are the same, and so because of that, there will be differences. There's no two children who are, their experiences and interactions are all different. Their personalities are different, and the way they react to certain situations is also different. So because of that, there's that range of, duration. However, like Miss Hina said, it takes about like 4 weeks. If anything exceeds 4 weeks for a child to settle into a new environment and routine, as long as there's consistency in that routine, children should be able to settle in. But if they don't settle in, and we are seeing excessive expressions of disturbance, of upset, of being unsettled, then we have to go look out for specialists like Miss Hina, who can actually go through a process to get the child calm and settle down and get the child to integrate better in the society or in the social environment. So while we've said a lot today, we've said a lot. I still have people coming in. Please, if you're just joining us, I know we got carried away, but if you're just joining us, please feel free to tell us your name and where you're watching us from, where you're joining us from, and let's have your comments, and let's have, anyway, I don't think we can take any more questions. We've already gone past the hour, but a lot has been said here. So please, if you're out there, settling in your child, or someone who's settling out in your children, or you're settling in a child, or as a teacher, these points we have discussed here are based on our experiences, based on research, and based on our day-to-day how do I put, interactions with children. So as you go out there and apply these tips and strategies, one of the things Ms. Hina said, and I honestly I tap to it, is that constant observing of your child to understand what his or her predispositions are to emotional situations. So when you understand your child, you can better work with him or her. I want to thank you, Sophia. I want to thank you, Hina. for coming on board today and sharing great value. I don't know if you're out there. If you're out there with us, thank you so much for staying with us till this time. If you're still here with us, can you please just put it there in a comment? What your take home is for today, and I think we're going to end it here. Except there are any questions from the audience. That being said, we've gone past the hour, but thank you once again for sharing with us. And we hope to have you come back again soon and share more of the tips. One of the things that I would really have loved to touch on today, but we're going to touch on another time, is how eventually how the environment actually affects me. Sophia talked about that. So maybe in another talk, we'll see how the environment actually affects children's behaviors. But thank you very much for joining us in part 1 of this. Next week, we have part 2, where we literally talk about separation, where we talk about anxiety, fear, and worry in preschoolers, stemming from some of the things that could happen after separation anxiety. After separation, sometimes children just worry, they fear. And so when a child is in that situation, when a child has not been able to settle in so well and they're still going through anxiety and fear, what exactly can we do as parents and teachers to help children overcome anxiety and fear? So you don't want to miss this next week. Same time next week, we're going to be back here giving you value and giving you all the information we can get. So please stay tuned, set your reminders for next week. Until then, we're going to say our last words. Miss Sophia, do you want to go first? Any last words you want to say as we close this session?
I would just like to say thank you for having me, and I hope teachers take it easy and just understand that everything will be okay. Just say 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and your classroom will be back to you.
Woohoo! 4 weeks. 4 weeks, daunting 4 weeks, but we'll do it. Okay, Miss Hina, your last words?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. And I think for everyone, I'm just saying that give some time to everyone and give some space to your child, and for teachers and parents. So this is something very important. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. All right, for everyone, have a good evening, have a good night, and we will see you next week, same time. All right.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay.